driving well today. Pevavam with bays on the bottom. Rishus Makaber says, Bala authority buries its owner, the authority. He comes in naked, he leaves naked. That he should leave the way he came in. Rav, when Rav would go out to Paskin Adin, he'd be called to a base din, he'd be the dying on the base din. He said the following: he goes with it willingly to the slaughter, to the kill, means he's going to killing himself. He's going to the Bezdin. It's like he's doing himself damage. He's damaging himself willingly. He's not doing the will of his household. It means he's not making any parnasa. He's not making any money out of it. Nowadays, they do make money. It's a question how they do that. But in those days, they didn't make any money. So I'm going to destroy myself and I'm not even making any money on it. Making the base say, I'm going to come back to my house empty-handed. Well, if I should be a kitzia, that I should come back home the way I left. The Gemara says the same story over again. Some take out the next girsa, but some do have it. It's the same story over about Rava. Till now it was Rav, but now it says about Rava. Some take it out, and we'll continue the story with Rav. But anyway, he says Rava kiyav enough with Dina Amar Achi. Rava would do the same thing. He's going willingly to the kill. He's not doing the will of his household. Making the base he's going to go back to his house empty-handed. Come back home the way he left. Yeah, but that was maybe take out the whole Gersa was said before about Rav. But the next Gemara continues with Rav, maybe with Rav. When he would see an entourage that was following him, they were Muhammad the Rav when he walked. So they would come a whole crowd after him, and he didn't want to become arrogant, so he put things back into perspective. We'd say the following pasuk. That's all the pasuk. So it's a pasuk in Iyov, probably, in Iyov. It says if his climax is going to go up to the heavens and his head is going to come to the clouds, he's going to forever be lost like a gelula. Gelula, some say like it's going to roll down. Some say gelula is like excrement. And at the end, he's going to become a nothing. Those who see him are going to say, where is he? Where did he go? So even if somebody has all kinds of greatness, he should realize that it's very temporary. At the end, he's going to be lost like everybody else, and nothing's going to become of all of his name. So a person that's getting honors, he should realize that it's only temporary and not take it to his head. Rav Zutra, when they would carry him on their shoulders. So Rashi says that he was old man, he wasn't able to walk fast, and when he came into the shul, into the Beis Medrash, he didn't want to walk slowly, so they would take people along. It would be a long time till people would have to stand up for him till he got to his place. So they would carry him like some kind of honorable way of carrying. So he would also, they're honoring him. Shabbat the big Lachar means when he made the drasha, Shabbos Agolov, Shabbos Shuvah. Everyone used to come together. He would say the following: that the strength is not going to be forever, and the crown is not going to be from generation to generation. The same idea, not to take to his head all this glory is very simple, is very temporary. Then it's going to become nothing. The Gemara dashes other psukim also. Again, I don't know the connection of all these drashas. How does it come in? There's a list of. We can make a list of what the Gemara says. I don't know what the connection is. The pasuk says, "Says Russia Loto." The pasuk shot is that it's not good to favor Russia. Don't show favor to Russia. But the Gemara is mentioning that it's not good for the Russia when he is favored. What does that mean? It's not good for the Russia that Hashem forgives them in this world. It's better that they should be punished in this world than they should get Olam Haba. So it said this concept a couple of times. And here it says, for example, it's not good for Achav. Over there it says the big Russia, and it says that there was a big decree, great decree against him. And then it says he was nichna. He was humbled, and Hashem said that the next pasuk, Shenema Yam Ki Nichna Achav Mipanai Lo Avi Hara B'Yamav. Hashem said, because Achav was humbled before me, so I'm not going to bring the evil in his days. So it says it wasn't good for him. It would have been better if they would have brought the evil in his days, because then he would have had a chance for Olam Haba. But now that he was not punished in this world, so now he's get punished in Olam Haba. So it's not good for Russia that they favor him. And the pasuk continues, Latos Sadik B'Mishpat. The pasuk goes, well, if you read the whole pasuk, says Pnei Russia Lato, says Pnei Russia Lato, that part of the pasuk, and then it continues, Latos Tzaddik B'Mishpat. That's the end of the pasuk. The Gemara is mentioning that also the tzaddik is there's no Nasias Panim. Not also. There is. To the Rasha, they favor him and they give him forgiveness in this world. Not good for him. And the tzaddik doesn't get forgiveness in this world, and that's good for him also. He doesn't get forgiveness. Some say the point is the drush is going to be that the last word that it says stays Pnei Rasha Lo Tov. Maybe you take the Tov, Tov La Tov Tzaddik B'Mishpat. That is considered like inclining the judgment against the tzaddik that they don't forgive him, but it's for his own good that he should get Olam Haba. It's good for the tzaddik that they don't favor him in this world, and he gets punished in this world, then everything is saved to him for Olam Haba. And it gives an example over here. Moshe was better for him that from heaven they didn't favor him and give him mechila in this world, and then he got punished in this world. The punishment was that he didn't go to Eretz Yisrael. It wasn't to say that he died before his time, and that way he got the whole Olam Haba. That because you Moshe and Aaron, you didn't trust me to honor my name, to show me more kedusha, the fact that they would have spoken to the stone, wherever the Torah was. So it says that that's why they can't go to Eretz Yisrael. And also the Gemara says, if it would not have been for that, then he still would not have even died also. It wasn't that they just were going to die anyway, and therefore just be out of Eretz Yisrael. They wouldn't have died even. So the Gemara brought Achav, that it was bad for him, that they did favor him to forgive him in this world, and it was good for Moshe that they did not favor him to forgive him in this world. The next Gemara, a new point, Ashreim l'tzadikim, l'dayin shein zochen l'Elisha Mazachim l'vnei v'nei matzov kol hadoros. Tzadikim, not only do they merit for themselves, they merit for their children and grandchildren for all generations. And it gives an example. Shekam u'bonim moed l'Aaron she'ivuli sorif, Nadav Avihu. Aaron had many children that were fitting to be burnt, like Nadav and Avihu, which means also Elazar Nisamah. It says here that Elazar Nisamah also should have been burnt. It doesn't say why. Did they bring an Eish Zorah? It doesn't say. But it says he also would have been burnt. But
Rebbe?
Yes?
The diuk is from the word hanosarim, that they were equally involved in the Maisa, and his tefillah was Meksa, that they stayed alive even though they were also involved in the Maisa, not even Avihu.
Okay, so it says hanosarim, we didn't do it there, right? It says that the leftover children, that means they also should have been burnt, but it doesn't say that they did Avera. It doesn't say that they were involved in Avera. It says they were worried to be burnt. It doesn't say why. So he's saying because they also were involved in the Avera, it doesn't say so. I'm just pointing out that the word Anosarim, it doesn't say as far as the sin. So which sin was it? So he's saying it's because of they also did a Zorah, it could be. That Schus of Aaron protected them that they should not die. So the Tzaddikim doesn't bring all the Kaladoros, but it means his own children. You see that on the Schus of Aaron, his children also remain. And the opposite is the word to the Rishon, the Rishon, the same thing, that their liability is not only for themselves, it's also for their children and children for all generations. What's the example? There were many descendants of Canaan. Canaan is the Chum who of Canaan, and by the story of the Mabul, of Noach, when he was naked, so it says that Canaan was cursed, that he should be Eved Avadim Yelachav. So all of the descendants of Canaan are now Avadim Canaanim. And some of them could be very great people. Even right to be on Sanhedrin. There are some that are even right to have smicha, to be ordained and to be part of the Sanhedrin, like Tavi, why do I say Sanhedrin? I'm not sure. Rightly samech, they have smicha. Like Tavi, the servant of Rav Gamliel, was big Talmid Chacham, but he can't because he's Eved Kanani. The liability of their grandfather of Cham, that caused that they should not be able to. So what the Gemara say that tzaddik could cause all kinds of merit for all generations, and so to the Russia causes all kinds of liability for all generations. The next thing that it says, again, a new point. I don't know the connection. Kala Mazaka, have to make it smaller over here. Kala Mazaka. Yes. Okay, we'll get there soon. Somebody causes merit to the multitudes, to the tzibur, so then Hashem is going to orchestrate that he shouldn't do any sins. And anybody that causes the rabbin to sin, so they take the word kimat, they take out the word kimat, they say that it's not supposed to be there, and they're speaking about the last tshuva. They're not going to give him the opportunity to do tshuva. And it explains why. Who the Gehenim. V'tamida b'Gan Eden. It's not fair that he got people to be in, Gan Eden. He himself is going to be a Gehenim. Since he got Tamidim, he was Misakas Arabim, and people on Gan Eden because of him. So Hashem wants he also should be enjoying Gan Eden with them. That Hashem does not allow me to go to the grave. He's not going to allow the pious one to see the grave. That means that Hashem holds back sometimes that people that might go to the grave, might go to the Gehenim, they're not going to. So what's that referring to? To a person who has a merit that he got other people into Gan Eden. And the opposite, if somebody calls other people to do a virus, so they're Gan Eden. You got people in the Gan Eden, and he's in Gan Eden. So no, Hashem is not going to let him to do tshuva. The person who is guilty because of the blood of others, that he got other people bloody, like in Gehenim, so he's going to have to go to the bar, and no one's going to support him to get out of the bar. He's also going to go into the bar.
So Rebbe could be saved by his Talmidim.
That means not that he's saved by his Talmidim, that Hashem is going to orchestrate that he should not do sins. That's what it says. It says that a person who caused other people to do good, so in that merit that he got them to be in Gan Eden, he's not going to sin.
It's even better.
It doesn't say that he's going to sin. He's going to get he's going to get saved. Hashem is going to cause that he shouldn't do sin. He's going to have some nisayon, and Hashem will take away the nisayon.
Sometimes it doesn't work.
Okay.
And the mayor, and it didn't work like that.
Okay, it could be over there that Acher wasn't the one who brought her mayor to learn Torah. It wasn't that he's the one who was Mazakas and Rabbim Dafka. Could be. But all these things are probably not going to be foolproof. It means there's such a havchana. Right. If a person goes all the way, once he does Averis, so, but even though he had Talmidim. But there's an aspect of when a person brought other people to have Gan Eden, so it's fitting he should be in Gan Eden also. But the opposite, if you got people to Gehenim, then he got out because he did Tshuva, he's also not going to do Tshuva, and he's going to be in Gehenim together with them. So that was some side points. I don't know the connection again. I don't know how the Gemaras came together. We continue back to the Mishnah. Top line, the person says, I'm going to sin, I'll do Tshuva afterwards, and it says it twice. So that's the Gemara's kasha. Why does it say it twice, even once? Why does it say twice, even one time? So the Gemara says, we had this before already, when a person did an Aveira and he repeated it, then it becomes permissible. It becomes permissible just because he did it two times. In his eyes, it becomes permissible because he becomes more attached to it. He sees that he can do it, so it becomes permissible. So what does that have to do with Echtav Asher? Rashi seems to say that the fact that he said two times Echtav Asher, he said that very two times, so then he's not going to do tshuva because Nasas Lo Keter. That's what Rashi learns. It's a little difficult because then it has nothing to do with Echtav Asher, even if it will be Chata B'Chata. Nothing to do with the whole concept that I'm going to do that very because I'm going to do tshuva. With a pre-plan, I'm going to do tshuva afterwards. And should have just said Chata B'Chata, and nothing to do with Echtav Asher. Although the other Rishonim, the Rif, the Rosh, the Rambam, they say Echtav Asher even one time. Echtav Asher one time, even though Mishnah says two times. And the Moshe is hinting that it says there's such a thing as a person doing it very again and again, he should know that he's going to also, even not Echtav Asher, even just he'd sin two times without the whole plan of Echtav Asher, also in speaking about the last tshuva. So it's just a rem is the fact that it said it twice. So that's Echtav Asher, I think Moshe is going to say in a second, if the tshuva is what brought him to do the Aveira, so then it's not right that the tshuva should help. If a person did Aveira, such thing as tshuva. But if the tshuva, the concept of tshuva is going to, on the contrary, bring him to do the Aveira, if not for the tshuva, he wouldn't have done the Aveira. But since the tshuva is going to do Aveira, so then it's not right that the tshuva should help him. That's what the Gemara is going to say soon as far as Echtav Yom Kippurim. So some explain this also by Echtav Asher, it's the same concept, not because he does it twice. And then there's a new thing. If a person does an Aveira twice, it's harder to get rid of. And then we're speaking about the last tshuva. The Mishnah continues. Echtav Yom Kippurim Achaper, here it says only one time. Yom Kippur doesn't work for somebody who sinned because of Yom Kippur. Because Yom Kippur will atone, that's why he's going to sin. The Gemara thinks this is against Rebbe. We had Rebbe before already. The Tanya Rebbe Omer, that he holds that Yom Kippur is mechaper even without tshuva. So here too, why should it be worse? The person who said after Yom Kippur mechaper, if Yom Kippur is mechaper for everybody, so this also should forgive for. The Gemara says no. I feel the Tanya Rebbe Agav Shani. Agav means that it's on top of it, because of it, because of Yom Kippur he sinned. So even if he holds that Yom Kippur doesn't atone for somebody who sinned because of Yom Kippur. It could be we should be careful about this, but subconsciously a person might think like that. That a certain Aveira, the back of his mind, he thinks Yom Kippur comes eventually. So maybe he feels easier to do the Aveira because he knows he can get an atonement at the end. So we have to be careful not to fall into this. After Yom Kippur, we have to think about doing a sin that there's no tshuva and there's no Yom Kippur. If he still does Aveira, then okay, that's a we're not saying to do the Aveira.
You never know if you're going to make it to Yom Kippur. That's all.
And here it says that if he's going to only sin because of Yom Kippur, then also it wouldn't work. Even when Yom Kippur comes, he's not going to get a
Right,
kapara.
but I'm saying, but he might not live.
Yes, also, but I'm saying another aspect, not what the Mishnah is saying here, that even if he does make it Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur is not going to help him because he sinned because of Yom Kippur. So it could be that we also have this stuff.
It's interesting that in Ein Somchim Al Nes, we say that a Nes isn't done for a person who expects it, who puts himself in a situation to expect it.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
I said it's interesting that by a Nes, we say Ein Somchim Al Nes, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu won't do a Nes for a person who puts himself in a sakana or a situation where he depends upon a Nes. It's a similar mimer.
I don't. It doesn't say over there because he did that. Don't rely on a miracle. Not that because he put himself into the situation. Okay, but over here it's understandable that if he's only sinning because of because of tshuva, it fell into me that the idea that we might have something subconscious over there also. If he would know there's no way to get a kapara, it could be we also sometimes he wouldn't sin. Maybe it's good to think in those terms. That a person who doesn't have Avera, only if he would do it.
Something similar to that.
I'm just saying one aspect. Okay, if no one thinks that it's true.
No, yeah.
Okay. Next point. Avera shemrat l'chamakom is machaper, but Avera shemrat l'chavero is only matzas chavero. Remember that Yosef Rabbi Avo. Says the Mishnah, that's what it says in the Mishnah, that you have to get appeasement from the friend who you sin to. It's not enough just to do tshuva. The pasuk seems to say the opposite. That's a pasuk by Eli, where it talks about that his sons were sinning Chofni and Pinchas, and he was giving them musar, and he said, if a man sins to a fellow man, then he'll fill him. And the pasuk ends off, Hashem yachta ish mi yispal lo. The pasuk here has to highlight the pasuk over there, and yachta. Here it is. And then the pasuk says, so the Gemara thinks that it means that the word fill is question what the word fill means. Rashi says the Gemara is going to think, and at the end maskana is going to be that the word fill means some kind of appeal, some kind of an appeasement. So the Gemara thinks that it says if a man says to his fellow man, Hashem will accept the appeasement. It seems to be a fair pasuk that Hashem will be mochel somebody who sins to man. But if someone sins to Hashem, so then who's going to get appeased? That's the pasuk that the Gemara thinks. So the Gemara says, it says openly the opposite of the Mishnah. It says that when a man sins to a man, Hashem does forgive him. So the Gemara says, no, it doesn't mean that. Man Elohim, daino. When it says Elohim, it doesn't mean Hashem. It means the dayan, it means the judge. And the Phil, Rashi says, doesn't mean to appease, it means he's going to punish him. If a man sins to a man, the judge will judge him. So it does nothing to do about Hashem being mochel him. But the Gemara says you can't read the pasuk further than if that's found in the pasuk, give him a sefer, read on. It says, if some person sins to Hashem, mi yispalalo. If you say that the word yispalalo means to judge, so what does it mean? If a person sins to Hashem, who's going to judge him? What's the kasha? Of course Hashem's going to judge him. Hashem has ways of judging him. You don't have to need after the diet. So it can't mean that. So the Gemara goes back to the original pshat that it means to be appeased. But still, even though it means appeased, it doesn't mean Hashem is going to get appeased. Then Elokim yimchalo. If a man sins to a man and he appeases him, who does he appease? The fellow man. So then Hashem will be mochel him. But if a person sins to Hashem, who is going to appease for him? The answer is Shuvah Masam Tovim. That you don't have somebody to ask. You have to go to Hashem yourself. So Shuvah Masam Tovim. So he's telling his sons that your son is sinning to Hashem. So do Shuvah Masam Tovim. If it will be to a fellow man, so then ask the man, but it's been sinning to Hashem, so daven to him. So the Gemara thought that it says in the pasuk that when a person sins to his fellow man, Hashem could be mochel, and it comes out no, that you have to go to the fellow man to get appeasement. New Gemara. If somebody angers his fellow man, even with just words, just that he got him angry, he said something bad to him. He said derogatory words. He didn't hit him. He didn't take money. Just words alone. He also has to appease him. All that is a pasuk, and there seems to be a pasuk in the Mishlei. It says, "My son." The pasuk is saying that if you became a guarantor for somebody, so you got to pay up. No one asked you to be a guarantor, but if you took on the responsibility, you got to pay. But my son, if you became an ori, if you became a guarantor for your friend, you shook hands, and you agreed the responsibility. And then it says, you became ensnared in the words of your mouth. So the Gemara is taking it to mean has nothing to do with the money. It has to do that you said something wrong. You got ensnared by the words of your mouth. You said something bad to him. I say, do this, my son, and be saved. Because you came into the hand of your fellow man. The Gemara Dash what those words mean. The Gemara says means open up your hand. If he has money in your hand, you owe him money. The word hisrapes. Open up your palm of your hand. Means get them. How do you say? Shove it out. Get the money. Show money. Pay up.
Why does it mean? I thought it could be different. That if you're able to appease him by giving him money.
No, I don't think so. It says and
Then meaning if you have money, you have money.
I don't think it says that. 1 second. What is the gimel over here? What's the gimel? That means that if you owe him money, put in the word low. Means he has money in your hand. That means that you owe money. His money's in your pocket. So open up. Pay him back. If that's not the issue is the words. Get a lot of friends to appease him. So that's the point of. So the point that I wanted to bring was, even though it's only words, that's also the reason why you have to ask mechila. And the other point, now we go into another point that it says, when a person is trying to appease his fellow man and he doesn't get appeased, so one of the ways to do it is to encourage it, is to get more people to beseech him that he should forgive. So that's get a lot of friends. Get friends that they should ask him to be local. Now the Gemara goes into that point that when a person asks mechila and he doesn't agree to, he's not appeased, so you have to get more people to ask him. That's part of the process of asking mechila, that if he doesn't get appeased by your bakasha alone, so you bring people. You have to bring 3 rows. The row is like a delegation of people. A delegation is 3. Bring 3 delegations, one after another. Like sounds like first bring 1 delegation. If he doesn't, 3 people, and he asks, please be mochel, he wronged you, and he has regret, he remorse. Please forgive him. If he doesn't agree, bring a second delegation of 3 people, and again a 3rd time. He has to appease him with 3 rows, 3 delegations of people. Shenamar Yashar al Anashim, Vayomer Chatasi, V'Yashar Avesi, V'Lo Shavali. That's all the pasuk in Iyov. And the Rashi is saying Yashar means lashon of shura, which means make a delegation of people, and say. And he said Chatasi, Yashar Avesi, V'Lo Shavali. I sinned, and I corrupted the upright, and I didn't act in equilibrium. I didn't act well. So. I think that Rashi is that Yashua means a shua, that means a delegation of 3, and then it says 3 times Chatasi, Yashua Basi, Lo Shavli. He said 3 times, he has to bring a delegation. And more than that, not. I think Mo's going to say now that he doesn't have to ask more than 3 times. Or he's not allowed to. Somebody asks forgiveness. The word matu means bakasha. Like when matu minach, we say when a person asks bakasha, of forgiveness from his friend, he should not ask for him more than 3 times. Shenema, Ana, Sana, Bata, Sana. That's the pasuk by Yosef's brothers, that they sent a message to him that he should forgive them after Yaakov died. And it says over there, Ana, which means please, Sana means forgive, now. But the word now, besides no being now, also is lashon of bakasha. So it says a 2nd time, a plea. So it says Ana, and then it says again Sana, and Ata, Sana, 3 times, but not more.
2 questions. Number 1 is, it should be, depends on how big the, if it was a very bad thing, it's maybe, if it's a minor thing, then 1 should be enough. If it's very major, then 3 times not enough.
I don't know the answer.
And also, the Maisi doesn't have, he's not a piece, so
So he did his. He did his, that he asked appeasement 3 times or 3 people each time. That's like the maximum that he could do. He doesn't have to do more. And he even says he shouldn't do more. Why shouldn't he do more? I'm not sure why he shouldn't, but it says, Lo Yivakesh. So he did his maximum, and he does tshuva to Hashem, and he did what he could. It makes maybe a ceremony Adam or Mamid and Al-Kibbur. If the person that he wronged died, then he doesn't have the opportunity to ask him mechila. So he should take 10 people and go to his grave. I sinned to Hashem, the God of Israel, and to so-and-so, says his name, that I damaged him. The Gemara says a couple of stories now about people who sinned. They're not going to supposed to get appeasement, so that's going to be a couple of stories. You have a way. There was some issue between Rabbi Yami and Abba and Rabbi Yirmiyah somehow wronged Rabbi Abba, and he was going to ask Mechila. Also, Yosef Adasha, the Rabbi Abba, he went to sit by the door of Rabbi Abba's house. He was coming to ask him Mechila. When his maidservant, the maidservant of Rabbi Abba, was throwing out the water, dirty water, so some dropped, some spritzed onto the head of Rabbi Yirmiyah. Have a Amar, a Suni Kashpa. So he said on himself, they made me like a dunghill. So he said about himself that if I'm like in the Ashpa, that Hashem is going to pick up the poor man, the destitute man from the Ashpa, as if to say that he's going to get out of the whatever problem he was, Hashem should help him to get out. There's a gears here that says that he left and he felt that was enough that he did already, that he came to the house and he got spritzed with dirty water. Some don't have the gears, Agmar doesn't have it. And then it says Rabbi realized what happened. Rabbi was balabais, and he realized that his maidservant spilled some water on Rabbi Yirmiyah. Rabbi came out. Now I have to get mechila from you. That the fact that my maidservant threw water on you, so I have to ask mechila from you.
Even though he didn't receive an official request to please.
Right, I think probably the story sounds like he understood Rabbi Yirmiyah came for. Rabbi Yirmiyah came for that, and he realized that he got it over the head. So he is now going to ask mechila of Rabbi Yirmiyah. I don't know exactly what the pasuk is dashing over here. Go, and we said his rapes means open up your hand if you have to pay money. That's not the case. And again, we said get a lot of friends to a delegation. So I don't know what he sees in the pasuk over here. Some over here, there's a gear that maybe helps out a little bit. Some say that Rabbi Yirmiyah started coming towards Rabbi to ask mechila, and he said, "I'm going to come to you. You don't come to me. I'm going to come to you." Like leichis rapes. Maybe I'm the one supposed to be coming to you now. Okay, that was one.
Why was he responsible for the mistake of his servant?
So I think that the Gemara Baba Kama says that really the same way a person is chayiv for the damages of his cow, he's also chayiv for the damages of his eved and shifcha. The only reason he doesn't have to pay, the Gemara says, is because if the owner will have to pay for the damages of his servant, so then the servant has something over his master. Whenever the master doesn't treat him well, he's going to go burn down somebody's garden, and then master's going to have to pay. So in order that the master shouldn't have to pay, be in the hands of around the thumb, around the finger of his Ebed, so they took away that responsibility. But it seems that the same way you own a cow and you're responsible for the damages, you're also responsible for your maidservant's damages. I think.
Fine, so Nizikin, but what about Mechila? There's no Mechila here. His servant made a mistake. It's Nizikin, I can understand.
I imagine it's the same thing, that if you're responsible for the same way, I think, the same way if your cow damaged somebody, besides paying, you also have to ask Mechila. The same way if you stole. If you have to, it's not enough just to pay. I think you have to ask Mechila. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would think so and so too. If your Eved damages, you're responsible for your Eved. You got to make sure they don't damage. And if they did, so you're responsible. If you have to have money, it's money. If not money, then you have to ask Mechila. I would think so. I can't say it as an exact for sure, but I think that fits in the Gemara Baba Kama.
He speaks highly. What's the name of Abba?
Abba, yes.
Abba, he speaks highly about his midah of choosing to make shalom.
It could be that it's
Defending
mechuyev.
himself out of the.
Yeah, it could be that it's mechuyev. Could be he feels that it's mechuyev. Could be that it's
feels
mechuyev.
it's
Could that I think that maybe if somebody's servant damaged, he has to have responsibility. Yeah, sure. Of course, it was unintentional, but with all that, it was degrading. Next story. Rav Zera, ki have a lay Milsa Bahadi English, have a call of Patani Lokamei, Mamsi Lake, Yechel, and Nasi Benefit Lemi Diet. Rav Zera, if somebody wronged him, he would make it his business to avail himself to that person, that the person should ask Mechila. Not that he's going to ask Mechila, but the other person should ask Mechila, but he made himself available, used to pass in front of him, Dafka, that maybe the person will be aroused, he's supposed to ask Mechila. New point. Rav had an issue with a butcher. It was the butcher's fault. The butcher did something wrong to Rav. But the butcher didn't come to ask Mechila. The butcher wasn't coming to ask Mechila. It came here from Kippur. So Rav said, I'm going to ask him Mechila. Really, he has to ask me Mechila. This is different than before. Abzera didn't ask Mechila. Abzera just went to avail himself that he should be asked Mechila. But here, Rav said, I'll ask him Mechila. Paga Bey Rav Huna. Rav Huna was a Talmud of Rav. He met his Rebbe. He asked, where's the Rebbe going? I'm going to go to appease Ploni the butcher. Rav Huna knew who the butcher was. So Rav Huna said that the Rebbe is going to kill somebody. I mean, he knew what's going to happen. If he knew the butcher and Rav's going to come, it's not going to be good for the butcher. And we'll see the story. So Rav came to the butcher. He was standing over there. The butcher was chopping a head of an animal. He was butchering a head of an animal. He had a big cleaver, whatever. He picked up his eyes and he saw Rav. Amalei Abat, he said, "You're Rav. Still, let's go away. Leslie Milsa about that. I have nothing to do with you." How did they come big to Rav? Besides the fact that it was his fault, whatever it was, also he spoke to Rav like that. While he was chopping that head with his cleaver, so a bone slipped, shot out, and it hit him in his throat, and it killed him. So that's the chutzpah to Rav. New point. Rav have a pasuk Sidra Kamei the Rebbe. Rav was learning Seder. What's Seder? Seder, Rashi says, means in the Ksuvim is divided into a Sidra. Like we call a Seder, a Sedra. Nowadays we call it Parshios, Parsha Shavua. But the same we call the Seder. Rashi says, the last Rashi over there, Parshas Mikra Shel Nevi'im Shel Ksuvim. They used to divide the Nevi'im Ksuvim into Parshios, Sidrot. That's how much they would learn every day. If people do it nowadays. They had the Seder Dach Yomi. I saw a nice thing. I think in Siddur Vilna that it brings down that by Yuval Tzion, the original Minna, Kedusha the Sidra. Maybe people spoke about it. The Kedusha the Sidra we have now. Asher Yuval Tzion. Yuval Tzion has two psukim, and then it says about the Kadosh, and it's called Kedusha. What's it called? Kedusha the Sidra. Kedusha the Sidra. What's Kedusha the Sidra? What's Kedusha the Sidra? So it says it's really Sidra that they used to learn. It was really a Seder Limud. Davening was a little bit longer than it used to be than nowadays. When they came to after Lam Natzeh, Chashvi Lam Natzeh, whatever, they would sit down and learn for 10 minutes. They would learn to say the Nevi'im Ksuvim. They made a cheshbon. They made a cheshbon in one of the Tanachim, the Korean Tanakh. They made a cheshbon that it comes out to finish the Nevi'im Ksuvim every year. It gives off Yom Kippur, things like that. Maybe Tisha B'av, a few days takes off, and you have a cycle of learning the whole Nevi'im Ksuvim every year, according to the Sdom, not according to the Parsha. The Prakim nowadays is the Goyish Prakim. But it's also the Jewish Chalukah, the Jewish division. And according to that, they have a theory that was the Seder that we're talking about. So Rav, that's a side point. And then they would say, V'ata Kadosh Yeshevti Lo Yisrael. But then as the generations went on, people weren't able to stay for the 10-minute Seder over there. So they just say two psukim. So Valal Sion and Vanizos Brisi Osam was two psukim that's left. And the whole Kedusha the Sidra is just two psukim. It's not just such a Kedusha the Sidra, but that's what remained. I think it's in the Vilna Sidra, brings down this Shibboleth Vakir. Bottom line, Rav have a pasuk Sidra Kamei the Rebbe. Rav was, well, how should I say it? He was learning the Seder Hayom in front of Rebbe. I have to get another daf. I'm sorry, I have to take off a second to put on a daf over here. It'll take me a second, I hope. Where am I looking over here?
Tomorrow you only have a moment. That's it.
Right. I have to put.
Right.
Right. Let's see. What am I supposed to do over here? Why is it not going? I'm sorry if I take this down.
You're doing it for us.
We got plenty of time.
Okay, we have time. How are we doing in the time?
We got 10 minutes, but you don't have to go through the whole stuff.
We have time tomorrow also. I haven't succeeded in getting the whole shasa each time I have to, the whole Masechta, so each time I'm getting one daf at a time. So I have to do the homework before we come in.
This is paying on my office.
Right, have to go to, what do we need now? We need Pei Zayin with days. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get back on to sharing again. Okay, are we on?
Not yet.
Well, we see it.
It's coming. It's on it. There it is.
You meant big.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. So what I say that Rav was learning in front of Rebbe, and he was doing the Seder of Tanakh. As Rav Chia came a little bit late, so then Rav started again. I'll back up our elevation. Then back up came and say, started again. I said, Shem Berebi, other elevation. Then Shem Berebi came and say, started again. He started 3 times. He started, it's the 4th time already. He did himself. Then Chia came, Kapara came, Shem Berebi. Each time he started again from the beginning.
What was the Rebbe?
Rav was the Talmud saying it in front. He was the one who was reading in front of Rebbe. And then other Talmidim came and of Rebbe, and they also wanted to start again. Each time he started again. And that was ready to start again another time. Again to start again. He didn't start again. He didn't start again. Ikra Rav Chanina, so that was a slight. He slided the honor of Rav Chanina. He should have started again. Also, Rav Lagabe, the Gemara is going to say soon that Rav Chanina was bigger than Rav. So even though Rav is Rav, but at that time he was younger and less, and he should have started again in the honor of Rav Chanina, and he didn't. So he slided the honor of Rav Chanina. Also, Rav Lagabe,
Rav wasn't the Rebbe of
no, it's opposite. If anything, it's opposite. Rav Chanina was Rebbe of Rav. They all told me them of Rebbe. Rebbe was the Nasi, but still, it was proper that Rabbi Chanina, that he should have started again. It's interesting. Like we would have thought, even if everyone's muchobad, you become late. So I don't know if maybe there wasn't a certain time to come. I don't know. But the derech would have been to start again. Also, Rav went to ask him 13 times every Yom Kippur, and he still didn't accept. Rabbi Chanina didn't accept. How did Rav ask so many times, 13 times? He shouldn't ask more than 3 times. It sounds like he shouldn't. He shouldn't ask more than 3 times. So Rav Shani. So Rashi learns that Rav's different. Rashi says Rav was machmir. Rav was machmir. You don't have to, but you're allowed to. And you're allowed to be machmir more than 3 times if you want. He wanted to be machmir. And the Rambam learned that a Rebbe is different, not Rav is different. A Rebbe is different means that Rav Chanina was the Rebbe of Rav, and for Rebbe you have to ask more. So even though for a regular person he only asked 3 times, if he slided the honor of the Rebbe, he has to ask from the Rebbe, then even 13 times. And the Gemara says now, so why is Rav Chanina not mochel? Rav Chanina, why was he not mochel? Even though he did slide him, but if a person is foregoing with this, then Hashem is going to forgive him. He shouldn't be so strict. Rav Chanina saw a dream about Rav. There's a full bedikla that they saw in the dream that Rav was hung up on a palm tree. And we know that we learned that somebody that in a dream is put up on a dekel, that's a simon Reshavi. He's going to become a leader. He's going to come to Rosh Hashiva. From here, Rabbi Chanina learned that Rav is going to become the Rosh Hashiva. And he did not get appeased. He didn't accept it, nor that Rav should go to Baba. So here Rashi learns interesting shot, but there's another gear that makes it simpler. Rashi learns that Rabbi Chanina was the Rosh Hashiva, which is difficult because at this point he wasn't the Rosh Hashiva yet. Rabbi was still alive. And Rabbi says when he died, he said Rabbi Chanina should be the Rosh Hashiva. But he wasn't the Rosh Hashiva at this time. Rashi learns he was Rosh Hashiva, or he knew he was going to be Rosh Hashiva. And now that it says that Rav is going to be Rosh Hashiva, so then Rabbi Chanina is going to have to die in order to make room for Rav. So he didn't want to die. So he said, let Rav go to Baba, be Rosh Hashiva over there. That's Rashi's shot. The other shot is a gear that they said. They're in Eretz Yisrael, yeah. All rabbis in Eretz Yisrael, all these people in Eretz Yisrael. The other Gersa, it says openly that he saw in the dream that he was hung up on a palm tree in Bavel. It means the dream included that he's supposed to be Rosh Hashiva in Bavel. So he wanted to get him to Bavel. He's supposed to be Rosh Hashiva over there. So for whatever reason, he wasn't able to tell him the dream, or whatever reason, he wanted to make sure that he went there. So this, by the fact that it wasn't local, eventually Rav went to Bavel and he came Rosh Hashiva over there. Now we go into the dinner of the Vidoy. Mitzvahs Vidoy every Kippur. Im Chashecha. Really, when you're supposed to start saying Vidoy, every Kippur Im Chashecha. As soon as it comes nightfall, as soon as it comes Yom Kippur, you should say Vidoy. But the Chacham said it's better to do Vidoy before you finish it, before you eat, before Sudam Apsekes. Rashi says maybe he's going to get drunk during the meal, and he won't say Vidoy as soon as Yom Kippur comes in. He's drunk during the meal. That means that he might still say Vidoy during the rest of the day. Why not? He's not going to be drunk for 24 hours. But this lachatchila that he should say Vidoy as soon as Yom Kippur starts, he's going to miss out on. So therefore, he should say Vidoy before Sudam Apsekes. There's another gear over here on these words. Hashem Titav Daktiv Suda. Others have a gear. Shema Yerlo Dvata Kapala, which Rama learns means he's going to choke. He might choke during the meal, and therefore, in order that he shouldn't die right before Yom Kippur, so say Vidoy already. So that's the reason why we say Vidoy by Mincha. In Mincha we say Vidoy already. That's what it is. Even though he said Vidoy before the Sulam Apsekes, he should say Vidoy again after Sulam Apsekes. Maybe something happened bad during the meal. So the Rashi says that maybe during the meal some of it happened. So he did Vidoy, do Vidoy again. Is there some take out this Gersa? And the reason why he does Vidoy is because that's the Ikadin. He's supposed to say Ikadin. He's supposed to say Vidoy in the beginning of the day. A precaution, you said it earlier, but the real time is saying the beginning of Yom Kippur, not before Yom Kippur. So some take out this gear over here. Then it continues. So what do Safai? He did Vidui before Sukkot Apsekas. He did Vidui when Yom Kippur came in. And then it says, Afish is father Arbitz, his father Shachris. Shachris is father Musik. Musik is father Mincha, the Mincha is father Benila. Even though he did Vidui each time, Ma'ariv, he still does a Shachris, Musik, Mincha, and Nila. Each time.
So many times we do.
I don't remember what the source of this is, that Yom Kippur, that the Kohen Gadol did. He said Hashem's name 10 times. He did Vidui 3 times, and he did.
What's the idea? When finally you're not supposed to ask your friend more than 3 times.
So this is called the same thing. This is probably the same Ma'amad. That's a nice point that you see you're not supposed to ask many times. Also talks about one Yom Kippur, don't ask for next Yom Kippur. So it seems this is all called one big Yom Kippur. The Mechila of Yom Kippur could be that's also the Mechila of Yom Kippur is at the end of the day. We talk about that. When is the Mechila at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, every minute of the day? I don't remember, but it's one unit. Holy Kippur is one unit, and as the Indian say five times, it's times 2 really. It comes out altogether. We say Vidui 10 times. Here it says before the Mesudim of Sekes, when Yom Kippur comes in, and then Shachris, Musaf, Mincha, Ne'ilah. Where do you say Vidui in the Tefillah? Yachid Achat Tefillah, V'Shliach Tzibur Omer Benza. A Yachid, Tefillah Yachid says it after he finishes Amorach Chasam Yisrael B'Shalom, and the Shliach Tzibur says in the middle of the Tefillah. It doesn't say why. I don't know why. Why is there a difference? I'm not sure why. But the Yachid doesn't say it in the middle. He says it at the end, and the Shliach Tzibur says it in the middle. My Amma, what do you say? What's the nusach that you say? So the Gemara brings down a list of different nuschos. It just brings down the title of each one. We don't have all of these nuschos, but we know some of them. Amma Rav, Ati de Rosei Olam. That we're familiar with. Ati de Rosei Olam, it's like a paragraph. Shmuel Lama, that one we don't have. It's a different nusach that we don't have what that paragraph is. The Levi Yama of Svarsal Kosov Lemar. Rashi finishes off that it means we say that which one is that? Rashi says something over here. Which we do say also. We say that also in Banila at least. We say it every day. Some people say it every day. That our various are more than we could count. That's also probably the beginning of a whole paragraph that used to have such a nusach. This is the one that we say in our regular nusach of Yom Kippur. Elokai, my God, before I was created, I wasn't worthy of being created, and now that I was created, it's still as if I wasn't created. I didn't do anything to be worthy. I'm dust in my lifetime even. In my death. I'm like a vessel full of shame and humiliation. Of my averis. It should be the will before you that I should not sin. And whatever I did sin, clean way, merok, with your compassion, but not with suffering. So that was the tefillah of a vidu. So we have about 5 or 6 different viduyim. Behind the vidu, the Rav Kuli Shata, the Rav used to say this vidu every day. Or the Rav Amnuna, the Yom Kippur, and this is what Rav Amnuna, which we just mentioned. This is Rav Amnuna's vidui on Yom Kippur. The Gemara in Brachas brings us down the Gabe, the end of Shemon Esrei. We say Lakan Yisrael Shoni Meira. Some used to do this every day. All this is if you didn't say the words maybe the whole paragraph of that's the vidui. The real vidui is Baramduri said, that was his name. I was standing in front of Shmuel on Yom Kippur. He was sitting during the Chazer Hashatz. The Chimot Ashlicha B'Tzibura V'Amar Aval Anatu Chatanu Kam Mekan. The Shliach Tzibur got up to Aval Anatu Chatanu. There's vidui in the middle of the tefillah. So Shmuel got up. Amar Shram Yira Ika vidui Hai Hu. So he figured out that the fact that Shmuel said himself and changed the gears to take out the Shram Yira. If Shmuel said so, or Rabbi Amduri said so, that I could derive from Shmuel that the Ikar Vidui is Aval Anachnu Chatanu. So he's supposed, first of all, you see he's supposed to stand during Vidui. That's why he stood up. The old Chazer Shashas sounds like he was sitting. That's the question. Maybe someone he's supposed to stand during Chazer Shashas, but he was sitting. Maybe it was because he's Yom Kippur, he was weak, whatever the case is. But by Vidui, he's supposed to stand. Agav, we find that people sometimes make a mistake and they're so tired or they're leaning over for Vidui and they lean on something. It's not Kedai. Better to stand up straight, erect, and not to lean on anything because the Vidui is supposed to be standing. And since Shmuel got up by this part of the vidui, this was the Ikar vidui. The rest, probably they said other things also over there. After there was a Yom, but here he got up. So you see that that's the Ikar vidui.
Is he the Chazan?
No, he was but he's and when the Chazan is saying the vidui, nowadays the minhag is the most places that the Tzibur says the vidui together with the Chazan. But the Ikr din is that the Chazan is saying Shmona, is saying the Chazar Sashatz, so he's being mostly everybody. So by the Chazar Sashatz, when he says Vidur, the Ikr din would be that the people don't say it. That we also with the Chazar, with the Vidur of the Chazar Sashatz. That's what happened over here. Sheikh Sibu was saying it, Shmuel got up because I'm saying Vidur now. But the custom in most places is that people say it themselves also. In the Chorba they still do this. That the Chazan says it, everybody's quiet. By the Vidur of the Sheikh Sibu.
All the way through Yom Kippur and.
By Chazar Sashatz, by Chazar Sashatz. They say Piyutim, but they say Piyutim otherwise. Besides, but as far as the Vidur, that's part of the Shemana, part of the Tefillah. So then the Shat says it, and the people are Yod say, like Shmuel did over here. That's the end of the Gemara. We'll stop over here, and tomorrow we'll finish Be'ez Hashem the Masechta. Again, everybody is invited.
1:20 is Mincha, and then after Mincha is going to be the Suda.
Yeah.
Yes, Shikar.
So you got up to Tan and Chassam. Is that where we're up to?
We got to Tanan Hassam.
Yeah.
Yay.
Very good.
Sorry?
Thank you.
Too much.
Too beseder, beseder, beseder.
Too many details that it would take.
Just say they're gonna.